Oh my goodness. And there it is. Wow, gets it to go.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Bowl TV for continued coverage of the PWBA Summer Classic Series from the International Training and Research Center in Arlington, Texas. My name is Aaron Smith with Bowl TV, and we are ready for match play from the Go Bowling Classic, the first of 3 national tour stops over the course of the next week or so from the ITRC, the home of Team USA. The top 12 have advanced after 9 qualifying games over the course of 2 squads yesterday on a very demanding 43-foot condition. Dasha Kovalova, the player to beat so far, really put on a great show, finished with 770 in her final 3 games to catapult to the top of the leaderboard. But the standings are close. We got bonus pins coming into it. It is ridiculously, when you look at the overall standings, there is a lot of opportunity over the course of the next 12 games over 2 blocks to have anyone in the field make the stepladder for tonight. The top 4 will advance. 9 p.m. Eastern time for that. But right now, our warm-up session is over, so we're going to go to the lanes first. We're going to get a look at our first matchup on lanes 1 through 4 here at the ITRC. But as we do that, we're going to bring in Curtis Von Kruger and Matt Cannizzaro as well. So let's see. There's Matt. Hi, Matt.
Hello, sir.
And then there's Curtis. Hello, Curtis.
Hello.
Now, guys, I got well, technically it's 2 stats for you. I mentioned it was close coming into competition. After qualifying yesterday, took a score of plus 63 to advance. Shalyn Zulkifli got the final spot. From second place, which is Birgit Norreichs, to Shalyn in 12th place is a difference of 86 pins. So 11 players within 86 pins of each other. The difference from first to second, 80 pins, Dasha Kovalova ahead of Birgit, but 12 games, 30 bonus pins at play at each game. This is absolutely 100% nothing determined here at the Go Bowling Classic, and this is what makes it fun, crazy, and all the good stuff that we enjoy to bring to you here on Bowl TV.
Yeah, 360 bonus pins potentially in just 12 games in a low-scoring tournament. Those are going to really honestly decide. So don't worry about what you're averaging today. Just worry about the bowler in front of you. And if you can take care of your matches, good things are going to happen. If you have the best match play record, I guarantee you will be on the show tonight at 8 p.m. We're going to cover that live on Bowl TV as well. You're not going to want to miss that. It's going to be a great one. Got some questions here. You got some Julia Bond and Dasha Kovalova sitting in good positions right now to make a run at the show. Obviously, you like where Dasha's at. Potentially either Dasha could put some pressure on Julia to in that Player of the Year race, or Julia can break away as she's sitting in 5th place right now, only 5 pins out of the show. Who do you like? What do you feel right now there, Matt Cannizzaro?
Well, again, we've got 12 of the best in the world here. It would be hard to guess, but that's what we're here for, right? We're here to discuss and speculate and make predictions. And so the folks at the end of the day can either tell us how smart and scientific we are in our guesses, or tell us that we have no idea what we're talking about. But again, you have to like the confidence and the comfort for Dasha at the ITRC and just this season in general. Even making some changes recently to her span and her equipment, coming out and bowling as well as she did, finishing strong yesterday. Important thing to note today, of course, that the pace will be much quicker and the traffic is much different now with only 2 bowlers per pair each game and only 6 games. So, Dasha really came on strong at the end yesterday. So we're not going to get to that point of transition throughout today. So be curious to hear from some of the ball reps and what her plan was coming in and tweaking the strategy to get the look that she had later in the day. And then, of course, confidence-wise, Julie Bond, the season she's having, and, of course, her success early at the ITRC. You have to like her chances, too. But some very motivated players in our top 12. That Valerie Bercier had some ups and downs and a little bit of heartbreak here at the ITRC in January. But she's coming off 2 years ago now, but the Rookie of the Year campaign. And so she is ready to do some things. And others in the top 12, Rocio Restrepo coming off some injuries and trying to get back into her groove and really using the time away to get comfortable again. Verdi Crawley coming off of her big win. And then those who haven't won yet, right? Lauren Pate having a big finish yesterday in her final frames. A couple of big games to close things out to get into the top 12. She's in 9th place, going to have to do some work today. But as Aaron said, less than 100 pins between 12th and 2nd at this point. So top to bottom, we could probably talk about each player and the reasons why they could make the step ladder, why they should win this event. I think more than anything, it'll be entertaining and it will not be disappointing no matter what happens.
You mentioned Rocio Restrepo, and let's talk about her for just 1 second. She's obviously the last couple of years had some struggles. When she's healthy, she throws the ball as good as any person out here. Had a bad start to her day, but look at this: 188 $1.65 to start her day. A lot of people would pack it in and say, "Hey, maybe this isn't my week." She rattles off 212, 210, 20, 210, 240. That is correction. 220, 214, 229, 214, 214, 237, 213 to finish out her block. Only her first 2 games were in the negative, and just consistency. And it put her in 7th place. A very impressive capping to her block there. And she's sitting at 101 over. So it's really good to see Rocio. She was relieved. She was happy. She was pumping her fist, saying, I made a cut. So, it means something a little bit extra for her coming off those series of injuries and really just not being able to bowl as she thinks she can. So great job by Rocio.
All right, guys, I also want to talk about Shalin just a little bit. Shalin Zulkifli from Malaysia. I feel like we're about the same age, but in my introduction to Team USA and the international bowling scene, Shalin was the standard. She was the one they described as the international sensation. When you go to Malaysia, they were trying to put it in perspective as far as what she meant to her country and in the sports world. She's the athlete that you see on the billboards. She's the one. They describe this one. This one hit home for me. But when you go to McDonald's and you have your tray and you have the piece of paper on your tray and it has information or whatever, her picture, they said, gets to be on that piece of paper on your tray. Wow. That is how relevant she has been in the sporting world in Malaysia in her career. That also meant that much of her attention, because that was her job. She was part of the Malaysian national team. That was her full-time gig. So she was out there making a living. But that meant in the early part of the PWBA, she was focused on other things. She was focused on her family. She stepped away entirely for a minute. And now she's back. She's retired from the national team. And now she's very focused on the PWBA tour and the title that has eluded her just because of the history of the tour and the fact that it was away from 2003 to 2015. But she is here, and most of the folks I would feel are not yet familiar with her stateside or on Bowl TV, but you should be and you will be. And she has accomplished more in her career than most of us will in 5 lifetimes. So keep an eye out for her. Maybe not in this event, maybe, but definitely the rest of this season.
Yeah, she was sweating it going into that last game. I saw her in about game 7, kind of just spying things, peeping things out. And, it was she was out of the number going into the last game, as Jay Rich was the number 73 over. And almost Jillian Martin could have struck out to tie Shalin. Ends up getting the first hit in the 10th, and as we know, she ended up missing on the second one, but an impressive performance by Jillian nonetheless. but you can't get as more internationally accomplished as Zuki. I mean, there's just nobody else out there who has done what she has done. It's great to see her bowling well. She's happy to be bowling well, and I expect her to make a good run here, and be in the mix. Obviously, everybody is in the mix right now. So if you want to catch her, she's on the lanes 11 and 12, bowling Jordan Richard right now. It's kind of a position match right now, right? 1 versus 2, 3 versus 4, as you go down the line. So lanes 11 and 12, last pair in play. We took 13 and 14 out of play, obviously. So check those out and see how she bowls.
Aaron Smith, you had a chance to see Shalyn find success at the women's championships this year in Reno, and you also made note of her final game yesterday. I don't want to say it was a big finish, but it was an important finish. Tell us more about that and maybe some other storylines and some momentum you see coming off of that event.
Yeah, Matt, I thought you made an interesting point a little bit earlier, in talking about the strong finish that Dasha had. She shot 770 her final 3 games to catapult to the spot that she's in right now. For Shalyn specifically, her final game was not looking too good to start. She was having some struggles out of the gates. Found a late 5-bagger to get to 201, and that ended up being the number as we stated. So we saw a lot of players kind of have that mental toughness down the stretch. And once again, we talked a lot about yesterday. For the players on tour, bowling 9 games in a row is 9, 12, 16 games a day isn't a crazy amount. But just the pace of it was a little bit different than what they've been seeing on tour. Usually, they're bowling 12 games in a qualifying block, but it's split in half. You have it's fresh for the second block. So, you don't necessarily see, this transition hit once or twice like, Matt McNeil said when we talked to him. So everything was just a little bit different, coming into the Classic Series event. And with everything kind of going on, seeing kind of the mental toughness of some of these players down the stretch, I think was for me, the most impressive parts. We talked about, Rocio just kind of grinding throughout the course of the day, 2 teams, 220s, 230s, to slowly get to the number, get there, solidify her spot. Lauren Pate, 240, and then a late 2-0 in similar fashion to Shalyn, throwing a couple of late strikes to get to that 2-0 game, to make sure her spot was secured for this upcoming round here. I think the fun note, looking at this top 12, and for those of you joining us on Facebook and YouTube, if you do head over to bowltv.com, pick up a subscription, you can watch every match in match play throughout the course of the day. And looking at these top 12 players, we have 9 countries represented, which is pretty phenomenal when you think about it. Dasha from Ukraine, Birgit from Germany, Valerie, originally from Canada, Daria Payuk from Poland, Rocio from Colombia, Verdi Crawley from England, Diana Zavyalova from Latvia, Shalyn Zulkifli from Malaysia, and then a couple players representing the United States as well, in Sydney Brummett, Julia Bond, Jordan Richard, and Lauren Pate. So a very, very diverse field. So that's definitely a big talking point to continue on the international trend we've seen here on the PWBA Tour since the relaunch in 2015. But then getting back to Curtis's point from a little bit earlier as well, looking at the points list, early on, Dasha and Julia, the players in the top 4, advancing to this top 12. We didn't necessarily have that for some of the other players who are kind of in the mix. So Missy Parkin, Shannon O'Keefe missed this cut, so that's going to create a little separation. And of course, looking ahead to the Bowl TV Classic at the end of this week, those players are going to have to work a little harder to, potentially make that top 24. So that's going to be a big thing to look ahead to, especially going into the International Bowling Campus Classic on Friday and Saturday. But a lot of great competition coming together here. Once again, these are all head-to-head matches, 30 bonus pins at play for the victor of each match, 15 if there happens to be a tie. If you do lose a match, no bonus pins for you. Just total pinfall continuing on as I tried to set things up. And with as close as it is, in this 6-game block. We're still going to have things, we're going to get a little bit closer to the final picture, but there's still going to be a lot to go. We have that second block coming up today, 5 p.m. Eastern time, right here on BowlTV.com. For those of you watching on Bowl TV, the current lineups across the house. Once again, you do have access to watch every channel available and every lane in play. And as Curtis said, it's basically a position round to start things off today, and then we'll have one in Game 12 when we all wrap up. Dasha Kovalova. That's right. Dasha Kovalova taking on Birgit Norreichs right now, along with Cindy Brummett against Valerie Bercier. We're watching that here on 1 through 4. So all the folks on Facebook and YouTube, this is your premier matches to kick things off today. Julia Bond taking on Daria Payuk on 5 and 6. Rocio Restrepo taking on Verdi Crawley on 7 and 8. Lauren Pate against Diana Zavyalova on 9 and 10. And then Jordan Richard taking on Shalyn Zulkifli on 11 and 12.
Look at that ball reaction. Look at Dasha's ball reaction. She is her touch has gotten so much better over the last couple of years. And obviously she's gotten in a lot better physical shape. She makes a lot of jokes about it. She makes a lot of jokes in general, but she can get more power, but she doesn't need it. Really putting a lot of soft touch on the ball. She started off with something a little bit too aggressive early, and then moved into something and basically jettisoned that ball as quickly as possible. Came out with something a little smoother, and instead of trying to get it to boomerang off the back of the pattern, she really put some nice touch on it, smoothed it out through the mid and back end, and obviously the results are working well. Looks like she's off to another hot start this morning. Potentially 278 in the bag here. Great start, and it's going to put, it could potentially put a lot of distance between her and the next few people as you look at the scores across there. Not great. Cindy Brummett's struggling a little bit here. She needs to throw a 3-bagger here to really put herself back in here. And then Valerie Bercier can actually bowl a 259. So, it's going to be interesting who can get off to that quick start. And you've got to really adjust your mindset here, where yesterday you felt like you had time and it felt more like a marathon. And today is going to feel very much like a sprint. This is instead of the 400 meter, this is the 200 meter. And you're really going to have to get off and get going, or you're going to find yourself falling too much behind. So let's see who takes advantage and takes that opportunity and runs with it. Verity Crawley also off to a fast start if you want to check her out. Lane 7 and 8.
That's a good matchup there against Rocio. Rocio throwing some strikes as well. Julia Bond on 5 and 6 has 6 out of 7 strikes. Folks, we do have live scoring available too if you want to follow along that way. It's a very helpful tool. We use it along the way as well. You can find that and more on PWBA.com.
Close match here with Shalyn and Jordan. Oh, and Shalyn just absolutely putting some pressure on Jordan right now. So you can check that match out. What are the other keys to watch for? This transition is going to hit like a brick house. Probably, I would say more like game 5 and 6 today. Obviously, Matt earlier mentioned the fewer lines, fewer balls going down the lane over the course of the qualifying round or the match play rounds. So it'll delay that transition just a touch, but late in this block is going to be a difficult one. Let's see how they adjust from the knowledge they gained yesterday. Feel like they started off too much inside early. B Squad did to start the day, and that really made transition very tough for them. As you saw, that scoring pace just flatten out in 4, 5, 6, and 7. So let's see if they can correct that error today.
Shot there from Valerie to keep things going. Just missed the show at the season opening Bowlers Journal Classic back in January at the ITRC. 5th place finish.
Oh, and there's that dreaded 2-8-10 here for Dasha. And they're always lurking around the corner, especially on the early fresh. You can't get that speed up. Absolutely not. But speaking of Valerie, she's one of those players that you're just expecting. She was the 2019 Rookie of the Year. Had a really solid season. But you expect her to kind of break out a little bit because she throws the ball great. She's in good physical condition. She takes care of her body. She takes care of herself. And obviously has had some success as an amateur. So she's one of those players that we talk about. Maybe she's a little underrated. Well, Dasha gives that a good run. So we're gonna see if this may be that breakout tournament and she can capture that elusive title.
She made one championship round appearance in 2019 on her way to winning Rookie of the Year. Off to a strong start here into the 240s already. One more. She'll be in the 250s. Curtis, just kind of taking a glance, we're watching 1 through 4 here. You're there on site. It just seems like folks are a little keeping everything a little more in front of them today. It's not quite as many steep angles out of the gates as we saw during the qualifying blocks.
No, that is a spot on observation right there. As Jay Rich it looks to win this match with a strike or a 9 spare in the fill of her 10th frame. A little more in front of them. They're not trying to get to that mid lane or the middle of the lane early. Keeping really tight angles with maybe a little bit more of an aggressive cover stocks, but mild course. With probably I see a lot of like 2,000 on the surfaces right now. Nothing too scuffed up. Just to really blend out as much as you can this ball reaction across this 43-foot pattern. So Jay Rich finishes the deal here. She'll be chilling in the first match. Another 2-8-10 for Dasha. And now she's kind of opening that door here. Just a touch, just a hair. Birgit can strike out to make her double. So that game just tightened up a lot as Valerie threw down a 258. Really great start for Valerie.
She'll get the bonus pins as well. Sydney going to get the loss, but with that strike, still has 227 out there. So you take that and run in those situations. Verdi's going to get the victory over Rocio. She's in the books with 247, so that will be enough.
Wow, that was a brutal 9-pin for Birgit. And really kind of takes the pressure off of it. She can hold 193 now. Meaning Dasha really just has to keep it clean and keep it on the lane. Good break there for Dasha. Bad break for Birgit. And that's one of those games you really want to win. If you're Birgit, because you're picking up at least a minimum of 31 sticks for the lead. And now she'll give some back, and obviously Valerie is going to pass her up. And it looks like Sydney's going to pass her up as well. So she's going to drop a few spots, and that just shows you how tight this grouping of players is right now. You bowl one bad game, and you're going to have 4 or 5 players breathing down your neck. Verity also going to be jumping up there too. So, man, you can't lose focus here.
Julia Bond on her way to victory can max out at 245. Daria Payuk in the books with 180. Rocio in that loss, 226. Diana Zavyalova going to get the victory over Lauren Pate. She's a strike away from 228. Jordan Richard, 230 to 222. That's the final tally against Shalin.
Glenn had a late open, unfortunately for her, and opened the door back up for Jordan to come in and have a very strong finish. But, you know, if you're going to lose, 220 is not a bad score to lose with. You're not going to give too many away there. And so just kind of keeps her treading water. She knows she's going to win some matches. She can't win them. Well, very rarely do you win them all. So we'll see here. And now Birgit gets the 10 pin in the 10th frame. So that means at best, Dasha will have to fill 2 in the 10th. So this one's going to go to Dasha. Not the score she wanted, but the score she gets.
And a win you'll take with back-to-back 2-8-10s at the end of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, she probably thought those weren't bad shots. And that's what this pattern will do to you. You throw one, you're like, oh, that was a good shot. And you still 2-8-10, or you still come in high on the nose and leave a big 4 or something like that. And it's just a testament to how tricky this shot is. And, you know, if you look at the benchmark here as to how tricky this was, I was watching Shannon O'Keefe last night, and a very frustrating day for her. And she came back and she looked at me and another open. Well, it's gonna look like an open. We don't know if she'll fill it. Shannon just came back to me and said they're hard, and Shannon can bowl on anything. And she's, I mean, ironically, she bowled a really good game the last game. She came back and she was like, "Well, I should have done this the entire day." Just not necessarily the right choices. So one of the best bowlers in the world had a big struggle on this pattern, and same with Kelly Kulik, Liz Johnson. You know, these really, really great players that have had traditionally really good patterns like this just struggled throughout the day. 3 opens to finish her game off, Aaron, with Dasha.
Uncharacteristic, but enough for bonus pins. So a small victory there for Dasha, 189 to 179, the win over Birgit. We're going to get ready for game 2, folks. So that means our sneak peek on Facebook and YouTube will be coming to a close here in just a moment. So if you want to watch for the rest of the day, stepladder finals later tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern, and the rest of the Summer Classic Series, we do encourage you to head over to bowltv.com. Pick up a subscription. We got 4 different price points you're coming in at. You can watch the rest of the Go Bowling Classic for all of today, catch all the live coverage, $8.95 for that. If you want to watch the rest of the Summer Classic Series, which goes all the way until August 10th, you get 4 stepladder finals between now and then as well. $19.95 for all the live coverage. If you pick up a monthly recurring subscription to Bowl TV, that's going to cost you $9.95, but that will get you access to the entire site as well. So not only the live events, you get to watch the archived coverage if you want to go back and watch anything that you might have missed, and all the on-demand content available across the site as well. So $9.95 for the monthly, and that gets you a few more PWBA events coming up this month. The PWBA Spokane Open and the U.S. Women's Open all taking place in August. So that monthly recurring subscription would get you there, $9.95. And then the annual recurring subscription, $79.95, the best way to support the PWBA Tour each and every year. That'll get you all the way until, this time next year. So the start of the 2022 season, the Junior Gold Championships, you look at, potentially historically where we've had events, the Masters, the U.S. Open, usually earlier in the part of the year, the Team USA trials, all that available. And all the stuff we have planned for the rest of 2021, the rest of the PWBA Tour season, and more, the Bowlers Journal Team Championship Series, and all that good stuff available on bowltv.com. So we hope you head over, check out the community, say hello. We have giveaways as well. So join us and win too. Always a great opportunity. So for now, if you're on bowltv.com, we're going to take a quick second to reset. you're watching on Facebook and YouTube, we'll see you later and hopefully over at Bowl TV to watch the Go Bowling Classic here from the ITRC. Thanks again for joining us. And remember, on Bowl TV, bowling lives here.